Rise 360 offers 4 styles of divider blocks, which are great for chunking course lessons into meaningful sections, as well as controlling the overall pacing of your course. Let's look at each of the 4 divider block styles, beginning with the Continue block. So I'm in my Rise course, and I have several flashcard lesson blocks on my page. Let's say I want to ensure my learners interact with each set of flashcards before moving on to the next lesson. I can do that by inserting a Continue divider between each lesson. So here's how it works. To add a Continue divider, click the Insert Block icon to open the Blocks library, and then under the Divider category, select Continue up here at the top. That inserts the Continue block. I'm going to go ahead and close my Blocks library, and let's take a look at some of the options we have right here. So click Edit, and you can see that we can designate a completion type. We're going to walk through each of these. We also have a label here for the button. So if I wanted to change that, and maybe instead of Continue, we want to say Next Lesson, you can see that by changing the label right here, we now see that update here on the button. Let's talk about the completion types. The default setting is to always show the button. That means learners only need to click the Continue button to continue moving through the lesson. But in this case, I want learners to interact with each of the flashcards before they can continue. So I'll use the second completion type, Complete block, directly above. So when I select this option, notice how my Continue divider changes, and I'm actually going to click in here real quick, and it's now in a disabled state, but we also see a lock icon. That's to indicate that the learner must complete those flashcards above. And we also have some hint text right here, which we can also customize. So if we go back to the Edit options, you can see the hint text right down here. So let's say that we want to change it, and we want to say, please complete, right? Just to be a little more polite. Now that updates the hint text here on the button, and the learner will have to complete the lesson by interacting with each of the flashcards. Let's go ahead and try it out. So click Preview, and we'll scroll down. Notice how I don't see the rest of the lesson here on the page, and I have my hint text telling me that I need to complete this lesson first. So I'll click each of the flashcards. Doesn't matter which order we go in. When I select the last one, we now have access to that Continue divider, and we can reveal the rest of the content on the lesson. Go ahead and click Edit, and I'm going to remove this Continue divider here. So click the trash can. And this time, let's say that we wanted the learner to interact with all of the blocks on the page before continuing. I can do that by adding the Continue button down here at the very bottom of the page. So from the block shortcut bar, click Continue, and that places the Continue divider at the very bottom of the lesson. Once again, come back over here to Edit, and this time we want to choose the third completion type, Complete all blocks above. Now, we have the same looking divider right here, where I have the hint text and the locked icon, but this time it's going to wait for me to interact not only with the flashcards here, but also the first group of flashcards. So go ahead and preview the lesson. So we'll scroll down all the way to the bottom of the lesson. Here's our Continue divider. It's disabled, and I just need to interact with my flashcards. I'll come up and do these. And then finally, with this last flashcard, once we click it, we have now enabled the Continue button, and we can proceed to the next lesson. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at the other 3 types of dividers. Now, these are more visual. They're not interactive, but they can still be used to organize lessons into meaningful sections. So let's add our first divider. I'll come down here after this block and click the Insert Block icon. And again, from the divider category, this time we'll choose the second divider type, divider. Select it. And let's come back over here, close the Blocks library. And there it is, just a light gray line that goes across the page. It's subtle, yet it's still an effective way to create breaks between lesson types. So we come down here and we'll add another one between this next one. So divider, also there. And then I think we'll have one more down here for this third one. Divider and in there. Now, each of these dividers has some settings that you can control. So if you want to change that, you can select Edit, and then you have some options for the padding in the top, padding in the bottom. You can also choose to change the background color to something different if you want. So there's the background color in the light gray divider. I'm just going to clear that and keep that simple, but that's what it looks like. Go ahead and preview just to take a look. It's subtle, but it's also breaking up nicely each of the lessons here on the page. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at the number divider. And one thing you can do with the dividers is once you've inserted them, if you decided that you wanted to change the type of divider, you can come over here and from the drop-down menu, just change it to a different divider type. So the number divider is a divider, only it includes numbers. So this very first one is 1. And each time you insert a number divider on the same page, the divider's number increases to indicate another step. So we'll click there. Oh, wrong one. We'll click the divider, and this time we'll change it to divider here and see how that's number 2. Then we had the number 1 up there. We'll do it here for the final one. Just change that to number divider, and 3, and so on. Now finally, there is the spacer block. So we'll go ahead and change that from number to spacer, and that just adds additional space between each lesson. So the default padding for the top and the bottom is the same. We just come over here to edit. The same as the other blocks that you can adjust either for the top and or the bottom, but it's another way to increase or decrease the spacing between each block. And then of course you also have the option to change the color. Okay, that's how easy it is to use divider blocks to organize and progressively reveal content in your Rise 360 courses.